Alright, so today I am going to do an instructional video on how to draw this cube. I'll draw it with the shadow as well. And then in a separate video, I will make the alphabet in this block letter style. But for now, we're just going to do the cube. Before I start, I like to draw very lightly, which I consider sketching. Before you really press your pencil down, I like to sketch it all out first, and once I can better see the drawing, that's when I start putting a little bit more pressure with my pencil and then drawing a harder line. Because if you make a mistake and you draw a line like that and you try to erase it, you're still gonna see that line. But if I did a sketch like that, if I made a mistake, if I erase it, I can erase it totally and you can't see it at all. So that's why I just like to go light first. The other thing too that I will say is, for me, it's easier to draw a line going this way rather than this way. So what I usually do is I'll twirl my paper. I'll move my paper around just so I can stay in this position to draw my line. The other thing too is when I'm doing my sketching, I usually hold the pencil up here because it's really rough. It's basically, I'm not looking to be too accurate. I'm just kind of getting, being able to visualize the entire sketch. And then once I see it all, that's when I will start drawing and holding the pencil like you would normally hold it. But for now, I'm just going to, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a square. This will be one face of the cube. Now from this corner would be called a vertex. I'm going to draw from this corner just a diagonal line. And then from this corner or vertex, I'm going to draw another diagonal line which has to be parallel to this line. It doesn't really matter, and you just estimate it as best you can. Doesn't matter what the length is, because we're drawing these so light, we can always go around afterwards and do some erasing. From this vertex, I'm going to draw another line that is parallel to this line. So basically, to be parallel, it would mean that if we ran this line, a line parallel up between these two lines, the distance from here to here would be the same going all the way up. And we'll see that when we start to put the cube together, we'll see that. So I'm going to make the other edges of this cube. So now you can see that I can erase my excess. Now we have the basis of our cube. Now I'll make the outline of the cube, now that I can see what it looks like with the sketch. Now, to make the cubes within the cube, I need to basically estimate along an edge. I need to divide each edge into thirds. So each edge would be 3/3. So I'm going to estimate, I'm just going to put a little mark. I'm going to put, there's my first third here. And I'm going to say that to make my 3/3, I'm going to be like that. To me, that looks okay. So now I'm going to sketch. We'll sketch a line going like that and sketch a line like that. I would need to do that again right here. So I'm just going to visualize that being a third and that being a third, meaning that the distance between here, here, and here are all the same. So if I go like that and like that, now I want to draw a line parallel, two parallel lines that lie in between these two lines. So this line needs to be parallel to that line. And again, first I'm just going to sketch that line before I commit to drawing it. I'm going to sketch this line. Okay, so I can, I'll sketch them all afterwards. So now I just take this point, and I'm going to have two more. I will have two more of my lines. And now I have to estimate a third on this edge. So I'm going to say a third is right there, and then another third would be about right there. So now I step back and I look at that to see if these three, is the distance between here and here, here and here, and here and here all the same. It looks okay to me, so I'm gonna sketch these lines. And then now that wherever this line intersects this line and this line intersects this line, that is basically my new point. And I'm gonna have to draw two more lines. One line parallel to this line, go into here. And then I have to draw a line from here to here, which has to be parallel to this line and this line. And then the last step will be to where this line intersects this line, I need a line from here to here, which has to be parallel to this line. So I'm gonna go right here and then sketch up to be parallel to this line. And the same thing with here, where this line meets this line, I need a line starting here that is parallel to this line and this line. So now that I get that together, I can draw the lines now that I've sketched them. If you noticed in the video yesterday, I was jumping all over the place as I was drawing it because I wanted it to be kind of like a surprise as to what it ended up as. So I was going back and forth between doing the Rubik's Cube at the top and going back and forth and doing this all out of order, but that was intentional. So there's our cube. Now we can work on adding some shadow to it. That's the other thing from yesterday's video too, is I actually drew the shadow first to kind of throw you off a little bit. But on this drawing, I'm doing it all in the right order, or whatever the right order is, I guess. So I'm going to come back here and I'm going to draw wherever the cube hits the ground. We're pretending that this cube is on a surface. Wherever that hits the surface is going to be the darkest, because we're visualizing the light. We're visualizing the light coming in from this way, which means it's going to cast a shadow over here. So I'm going to say that the shadow kind of sneaks behind here, and then because that's at the ground, that's going to be, the light is not going to be able to get to those points as much. And then I'll take it out here. Remember, this line kind of has to follow how the shadow would go, because if I made the shadow like this, it wouldn't really be accurate, because that's not the shadow that would be created with a cube. I'm going to do this a little bit different from yesterday. I'm going to come down here a little bit more. And then down here, there's going to be a little bit of a shadow. And then the higher we go, the lighter, the more light that will be. So we'll have shadow down here, and then the higher we'll go, I'm lightening up on the pencil because the light's going to be able to hit the top a little bit easier. Now I'm going to come and go straight up to the corner. Then up here, up to the corner. Maybe I'll make this the darkest point, and over here a little bit too. And the last thing I usually do is I take my finger and I just kind of smudge the, let me do it this way. Kind of smudge the shadow in, and then I just kind of go all the way up. Next video I will do the block letter alphabet. Have a good night.